Welcome back. Update on the 75-gallon mixed reef tank. It has been a full month since my last water change, and the salt just arrived the other day. And so I have, it takes 11 cups, and to help me keep track of, I put one in there as I dump a cup of salt into the bin, and I've already filled it up with 11 cups. And we have the pump moving the water, as you can see, and the heater is working to get the temperature up to 80 is where I run my tank. And so I have recap on my saltwater tank. I have 3 heaters. It's the 300, 200, and 100 watt of the Fluval E series, and so it's easy for me just to pull one of the heaters off, and it's already set to go to 80, and it's just a matter of time before we get there. So while I'm waiting for that, I decided to do a quick test of the water parameters. So during the month, I did not change the carbon, did not change the false guard, and with the amount of live rock and the marine pure block and a cup of Seachem false guard and a cup of Seachem carbon, I managed to have 0 nitrates, and I have a low bioload of fish. I think there is 5, 3, 4, yeah, there's 5 fish. Definitely want to get that up this year. I'm closer to 11 fish is what I'm hoping for. Phosphates are probably at 0.25 or lower, more than likely. This is obviously the API test, so this is kind of a very generalized test result. The pH is at 8.2, and then I run the salinity at 35 parts per thousand. And a quick shot of kind of my storage supplies that I use. Mostly Red Sea and Seachem products. I don't dose these consistently, but I hope to start dosing more consistently when I get a dosing pump later this year. But I pretty much bought the entire Red Sea system, and as a backup I have the API system. Pretty much all their tests. Some of these are starting to expire, so I need to purchase some more. In the back I have my freshwater supplies, some extra filters, and just in case I need to dose copper, there's the to remove the copper from the water in my quarantine tank. This is the freshwater quarantine. And I don't really show my quarantine tanks. I wish I didn't have to run them. They're kind of a pain, but it is what it is. You gotta have them. I have one for the saltwater. This is a 10-gallon, and then I have a 15-gallon column as a quarantine system for the saltwater tank. Let's see, as far as the freshwater tank, I use Prime, so I stock up on that when that goes on sale. Stress guard every now and then, replenish. I was using the RODI water for the freshwater tank, and try to dose to replenish. Every now and then I mix it, but I've found that using the tap water is best with the freshwater tank, and it makes the whole process of switching out the water go a lot faster. And then more Red Sea products, Nopox, which I really during this past month I haven't dosed any of these products. So and then after I bought them, I really found out that, you know, as long as you're doing the water changes with the amount of volume that I have, the system along with the sump is about 100 gallons, maybe 105 gross. The sump is about 30, and then the tank is about 75. And as far as actual water, you know, it's somewhere between 75 gallons and 105 gallons. I estimate it to be right around the 80 or 90 gallon system. And one thing I found out is that after I bought all these items that I necessarily didn't need them because of the low bioload in my tank currently, with only 5 fish, and I don't feed heavily. Of course, in the back we have some seaweed for when I had tangs, and then there's cupramine and Predator Pro. So every now and then I have to use these, some extra vials for pulling sample water out of the tank. As far as food, I mainly use New Life Spectrum, and then I also use Cobalt Aquatics for when I'm in a rush. And then of course you've seen the frozen food. I have a couple different versions of the New Life Spectrum, and I even have their flake. I don't feed this one too often, it's kind of a backup. But basically I feed flake in the mornings when I don't have a lot of time before heading out to the office, and then all the frozen and pellet food is soaked in sea chem garlic guard before putting that in a tank. And then let's see what else. As far as medication that I use, I have plenty of Canaplex and Focus on stock. Every now and then I soak the pellet food in this so that, especially in the freshwater tank, I have 13 bleeding heart tetras, and from time to time there's about 3 or 4 males and then all the rest are females, so there's a lot of fin nipping and I don't know, the fish version of headbutting, so their eyes get foggy sometimes, and periodically I will soak the food in this before I feed it to them to stay on top of any fungal or bacterial infections that they may have. And that's pretty much it. Pretty straightforward. Try to keep it simple. As we all know, this hobby can, you know, if you have whatever amount of money you have for your budget, the hobby will do its best to take all of it and then some. I would say the biggest mistake that I made looking back was I think my setup went pretty well, but overall, let me get over to the tank real quick. Be right back. And the blue lights are on, you can't really see. Let me switch it over to daylight real quick. So this is the tank. Still about to do a water change, and that will be towards the latter part. First thing I always look for is, has the starfish moved? And it finally did move. And then I always is look at the leathers to see if they're opening. Especially the Nitrates seems to be the first line of defense, and let me know how the water quality is. And then the biggest thing is the red multi-cap is starting to brown out, so that tells me, or starting to turn white or brown out, or a combination of both. So that just tells me that, you know, I'm starting to reach the limit of how long I can go without a water change. The other SPS seem to be doing fine for the most part, and of course everything else is doing well. You can see the algae on the glass to get a sense that it truly has been a month since my last water change. And so I'll be cleaning the glass and siphoning the sand, and we'll be right back.